The Road Traffic Infringement Agency is set to go ahead with the Aarto Act as the Constitutional Court is still to rule on its legality. The agency is worried that delays by the Constitutional Court may delay its rollout plans. In November last year, judgment for the Administrative Adjudication of Road Traffic Offences Act was reserved by the Apex Court. The Act in its current form will make individuals and companies incur points deductions when a traffic infringement is committed. We're now joined by Gavin Kelly, CEO of the Road Freight Association, for a little bit of clarity. Gavin, let's start with exactly that.
Well, first of all, good afternoon to you and to all your viewers. Yeah, we're all sitting on tenterhooks waiting to hear what the Constitutional Court is going to rule. Legislation in its main, in its whole, was unconstitutional. So if that is found to be true, then the drafters of the Aarto legislation, or the RTIA in this case, the Road Traffic Infringement Agency, would now have to go back and decide, are they going to pursue in trying to bring Aarto about in the country, and are they then going to rewrite the parts of the Act? And I'm sure the Constitutional Court would then point to these pieces of the Act that need to be rewritten. But in the meantime, there is an Act. There are some regulations. I know they are not the final regulations. We had a fair amount of comment around those in about 2019, which feels like thousands of years away. That need to be discussed and negotiated. So I think what the RTIA is trying to do is saying that we need to do something about what's happening on the roads, and in the meantime, they'll go ahead and do some training with the local authorities, because that's who's going to implement this at the end of the day.
And that's just it. You've had a number of engagements with the Department of Transport and the Road Traffic Infringement Agency on this. Just remind us of your concerns that you had in 2019 and that training, to your knowledge, how far has it gone?
Well, let's raise some of the concerns that we had. The first was that when we looked at this legislation, it seemed to be driving a revenue-generating scheme. It did not seem to be looking at what Aarto was initially designed for. And remember, Aarto comes from the Australian parent system in the state of Victoria. It is a type of system that's run around the world where you deal with the behavior of drivers. So you try and convince them through a carrot and stick process to stop driving or behaving badly on roads. However, in those countries, it is predicated on a very efficient and functioning public transport system. And let's not discuss that today, but you need to have that. If you're going to take people's licenses away, if you're going to suspend their ability to drive their own vehicles or plow their own businesses, there has to be something in an alternative form for that. Then, of course, the next thing is that we have an abysmal record in terms of road traffic policing. The stories of corruption and all those sorts of horror stories are magnitude. We haven't been able to address that. The RTMC is trying to put in programs to change that. Then, of course, when we lose the points, there are rehabilitation programs. How are they going to work? Who's going to pay for them? And in terms of fleets, and that's where our concern also lies, how are we going to administer this? Is this just going to bring in another set of layer of cost, which, of course, will have to be passed on to someone?
CEO of the Road Freight Association, Gavin Kelly, thank you very much for your time.